So as I said in the last video that I just did, I'm hoping to cut out Coke and more widely just any kind of fizzy drinks, sweets, or even anything with caffeine completely out of my diet, as well as including it into my new mark system, which means that anytime that I do eat anything or drink anything that I shouldn't be, I'll be mentioning it in my blogs, or vlogs rather, as a detraction towards that day in general. So given that, I thought that it'd be harmless at the very least by what I hope would be the last can I have, at least for a while. Obviously it would be foolish to say the last can in general, but hopefully for a while. So with that, I did simply get a normal can of Coke, just original. Now in terms of Coke and why I drink it, there are certainly better drinks out there, although Coke does have the kind of aesthetic that comes with it. Not necessarily the history, although that is there, but the kind of aesthetic, the feel, the cultural appeal of being Coke, of kind of being in its own league, of being an icon, really being its own thing, or again, being Coke, simply being Coke, being so iconic and being so aesthetic both in its design and its familiarity. And again, I do think that is probably the main reason I do drink it. If it was some other drink that had that aesthetic, I'd be drinking that instead. Although in terms of the taste of Coke, the actual flavour of it, even compared to other colas, I do feel like it has definitely its own taste, its own uniqueness. There are probably other drinks that, again, just in terms of pure quality, pure taste, pure product, deserve the kind of fame and notoriety that Coke has itself. Again, the best way you can put it is to say Coke is Coke, not really that Coke's iconic or Coke's just drink. It's its own institution. Coke is Coke. So while there are more drinks that are probably more deserving on that level, I do simply like the aesthetic of the drink, the kind of cultural appeal of it that you can see in American movies and whatnot, of having a can of Coke, drinking a can of Coke. Again, even just seeing that from American movies. But nonetheless, it does taste nice. It has a unique taste, again, just compared to other colas. And I think, thinking back on it, compared to any kind of fizzy drink or carbonated drink, Coke is probably the smoothest thing you can taste. Of course, when it comes to most carbonated drinks, including Coke, there's a little bit of a fizz, a little bit of a kick, both on the tongue as well as when you're drinking it, kind of down your throat. But Coke kind of has its own, like a syrupy edge, a syrupy undertone, which you can especially taste the longer it's opened. Because of course, and again, this is another factor that I think goes along with all drinks of this nature, but particularly Coke. When you open a carbonated drink for the first time, you're taking the first sip, not the first time in forever, but just initially open any can, whether it be your first can or your 1000th can of Coke, the taste is completely different. Maybe not completely different, it's the same taste, but the kind of qualities that are in it, some qualities go away, some become more sharp, more distinct the longer it's open, compared to it being opened for 10 seconds to 10 minutes, especially for say an hour or 2 hours. If you just open a can of Coke and kind of leave it as it is bare for 2 hours, it's going to taste quite different from what it would taste compared to that first 5 seconds when you're initially open, when you're initially drinking it. And I think it's, the longer it really stays opened, the more that syrupy taste comes in. Even again, this, it goes to all carbonated drinks, but especially Coke. Even just after 5-10 minutes, you really can taste a big distinction. Whether it's at the start, It's very, not necessarily even light, but there is that undertone of syrup. But then you get in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and that syrup kind of dominates it more and more. I still think it's nice to drink even after the 10 minutes, but there's really something to say about opening it and drinking it between the first 5 seconds and say the first 5 minutes. That's really when it's at its best, at least in my opinion. Now this can, as I've got it, it wasn't stored in a fridge in the shop, and I've not taken it home, and of course I've been walking for quite a bit, a little bit before my last video and quite a bit during it, so it's not as cold as I'd want it. But with that being said, just getting across the road, it's not lukewarm or anything, it just has a very slight chill to it. So run again. Now that I've spoken about it for a bit, I think it would be fair to have a drink off it again. The kind of taste is very unique, it's hard to pinpoint, but there's the syrupy undertone, there's the sweetness, although compared to most drinks this one isn't particularly sweet, although it has a lot of sugar in it. Again, I don't really know what else you could say. I'll drink it and then I'll give my opinion on it. Again, last can, just as it is originally. Hopefully you can hear the crack. There you go. It did fizzle up a little bit, bubble up a little bit because of my rhythm, but that's okay. It was very slight, and I only got a tiny bit on myself. So yeah, first sip. Alright, that's actually quite interesting. It's probably because of the temperature. And now that I consider it, that is maybe why I'm getting another sip. As I say, it's 5 or 10 minutes in. It has that kind of different flavour. It's a lot more syrupy than I expected it to be. I usually drink them very cold. When I take them home, for example, I'll sit them in the fridge for, at the very, very least, 10-20 minutes, usually half an hour or longer, to get them as chilled as possible. And the taste is quite different from that. As I said, I prefer it more. Now, with that being said, seconds. There's a lot of cars. I'll just take a few more sips while I'm waiting. Time is nonetheless still definitely a factor in my opinion. Well, not really in my opinion, again, anyone who's had a Coke or any kind of carbonated drink will know this. The longer you leave it, the staler it becomes, the taste is different, but before I opened it and actually drank it, I didn't taste or anticipate the fact that temperature would also play a big difference. Now I'm kind of curious, if I was to say heat up a can of Coke somehow, like in the summer, if I was to leave it out for 20 minutes rather than put it in the fridge for 20 minutes, how would it taste? Imagine it'd be quite syrupy. So that being said, I should give a review on its actual flavour. Just a few sips. Again, it's a lot more syrupy than I'm used to. That's really much of what I'm tasting. When it's colder, not only is it less syrupy, but it's less sweet. Again, I really feel like the distinctive, unique flavour of Coke that I was talking about is much more pronounced when you have a cold can compared to, again, it's not warm, it's not lukewarm, it's not even average, it's just, if I was to say normal temperature is 5, anything above 5 is hot, or anything below 5 is cold, this is kind of like a 4.6 or a 4.7. It's very slightly chilled, very, very slightly. Again, mostly syrup, quite sweet. I'm actually a bit disappointed considering that I'm hoping this will be my last can. But again, that flavour of Coke's still there. It's more that whether it's before, that was the most distinctive feature, and the syrup was kind of a very kind of pleasing and nice undertone, which made it very smooth to drink. And even like this, it's a bit smoother actually. Actually no, I'd say it's about the same. Again, compared to most other Coke and most other carbonated drinks in general, Coke is a lot smoother ride. If I kind of swish it about with a bit in my mouth, let it go over my tongue, it nips a little bit but not too much. Whereas if I drink it kind of classically as it's supposed to be drunk, it's very smooth again. There's a bit of a nip, there's a bit of a kind of fizz as it goes over your tongue and down your throat, but just completely random compared to, I don't know, a Vimto or an Orangina for example. The smoothness is a very, very big factor in what makes a Coke a Coke compared to those drinks, or I feel even our sodas. Looking at kind of the flavours of online, I have seen that it's been said that it has kind of a vanilla flavour. I don't know if I'm necessarily getting that, but then again, I've not tried too many things that are vanilla flavoured. Mostly just kind of syruping again, rather than there being Coke with an undertone of syrup. It's syrup with an undertone of Coke. Anyway, I suppose now that I've tasted it, given kind of my opinion on it as far as it will go, I could talk about my history with the drink. Really just my history within the last 6 months, which is to say, well, not 6 months, probably about a year. This has been almost exclusively my go-to drink. Just a simple, normal, classic can of Coke. Before that I did drink quite a bit of Coke, but I drank other things as well. Irn-Bru for example, and just assorted drinks. I've not drank any energy drinks in a long time, but probably about 4 years ago now, probably at the very least 3 years ago. But 3 years going back a little bit. Don't know how long. My main drink was kind of Monster Energy, and before that was Emerge. And for the past while it's been simple Coke again, because I like the aesthetic, and the shop that I bought this from, it was a garage. The usual shop that I go to, they do have it in a fridge, so it's more chilled and the flavour's different. Honestly, if I was only to get it for that garage, again going back 6 months ago, a year ago, I don't think I would drink it. I don't think I'd get into it. I'm not saying that it's bad, I do still enjoy it, but the taste of a cold can, it's not just the temperature, really the taste is very different. I've obviously that a few times now, but this really just does taste like syrup and kind of sugar with an undertone of Coke, as compared to Coke with an undertone of sugar and syrup. So it is quite disappointing. Just in front of an IKEA right now. There you go. Don't know if you saw that in the video, but if you didn't see it, you didn't see it. Just gonna look at it quickly. It is a rather big IKEA. A drink. Yeah, if all the cans that I drank were like this, I doubt it would have become my staple, but because the vast majority of the places that I have bought it from, I've had it refrigerated, and then I went home and unless I've drank it outside, I've put it in the fridge. I'm used to it being chilled, being cold, so yeah, a big disappointment to be honest. Although I'm not saying that it's bad, still perfectly drinkable, perfectly nice. Other than this, and I should cut this off soon because it's getting 15 minutes. Other than this, I didn't. Well, my feelings about Coke Starlight were very mixed. We don't have the original, we only have the zero sugar. And I believe it was the report of the week says that he rated the original an 8, whereas the zero sugar only got something like a 4.7. Or was that 4.3? It was a 4 point something. I'm just going to say for now it's a 4.7. And they really kind of compared and contrasted them, saying that the zero sugar tasted a lot more artificial and it just didn't have the same taste, it was just artificial. So the first can that I had, I was really unsure by. I found the flavour quite shocking. I didn't like it. The second can I had, I enjoyed it. The third can, okay. The fourth can I enjoyed it again. The fifth can I didn't like it, so it's back and forward. I've enjoyed half of them and then I haven't liked half of them. Here's the IKEA again. There you go. In terms of the flavours, I've got again a tiny bit of something different every time. I have tasted the kind of cotton candy that people have been talking about, not in the first can but in the second can, and slightly less pronounced in each other can. But really I can't describe the flavour. Definitely there's the undertone of Coke, which I've been talking about, that unique, distinct flavour, but like the syrup in this drink, at least when it's chilled, is an undertone, or when it's not chilled, the Coke is an undertone. The unique, distinct Coke flavour in that drink really tastes like an undertone to the kind of more shocking and vibrant flavours, which again, I feel a bit mixed on. There's kind of cotton candy to it, and then there's things that I can't describe. But I doubt I'll be ever drinking another can of that. This is hopefully again for a while my last can, and of course that was limited edition, so it'll probably be gone in about 2 months or so. Oh, that was probably my last proper sip, and it was the most disappointing of all, to be honest. Really high syrup content. I'm just going to get kind of what's left in the can and then hopefully be able to find a bin before this becomes 20 minutes. I run across. So yeah, just taking a sip at this, what else I can get from it. Getting a little bit very syrupy again. That seems to be the last of it. Now it appears that I can't find a bin. If I see one in the next 30 seconds, I'll run over to it and end the video after that. Yeah, I see one right there. I was going to see if I can't see one, just end the video before it comes too long. There's one at this Sainsbury's, as you can see. Let's get down the stairs. Last tiny bits, there's basically nothing in it now. Yeah, I'm getting nothing from that, like a drip if I mock it. That's me. The bin's right there. Right there. Get us in, I will let it become 20 minutes. Let's get to the shop. Yeah, it's 20 minutes now. So I'll just end it off.